Hey y'all, welcome back to the channel. My name is Metagrossman and today I'm your coach for the Texan Clearbodies in season number 2 of the Alola International. And this is our week 3 battle against Hammer Timestone and his Dunsparce the Hague, I think is what it's called. But I want to break the fourth wall before we begin and mention that this was played at 2:30 in the morning. Okay? The team built at 2:20 in the morning. So I finished building the team at 2:20 in the morning. Played him around 2:45 in the morning, something like that. I don't remember exactly. But this is a game that we played very late at night. And as you all know from previous history, or maybe you don't know, but I'm going to tell you, when I play at 2, 3 in the morning, I am a very bad player. Holy mackerel, I'm a very bad player if I play at 2, 3 in the morning. So that's one thing to keep in mind. But the team builder for this went up 2 hours ago. I encourage you to check that out because you never know what I bring until you watch the team builder. So watch the team builder to know what I bought, so that you have an idea of what I bought, why I bought it, and so you're just not sitting here clueless watching a battle. It's just like, what did you do? Why? Right? So yeah, I encourage you to check that out. It should be linked in the description. If it's not, then I encourage you to check out the playlist, which has it in there, or should have it in there. And the other thing is, I encourage you to watch every single other Alola International and PPC battle up to this point, because both playlists should be in the description, because you never know, you might enjoy it. But yeah, like I said, this is our week 3 battle against Hammer Timestone, and he and I decided to play on Pokemon Showdown because of time constraints. Because for those of you who don't know, I, as of Wednesday morning at 7 a.m., will no longer be in town. I won't be in town until Saturday, because I am leaving for New York for the rest of the week, because my brother's birthday is on Friday, so we wanted to celebrate his birthday up there in New York, so we decided to take a 3 or 4 day vacation, 3-day vacation specifically, to New York for his birthday. We'll leave there Friday, midday Friday, and then we will return here late Friday night, and then I'll be back on Saturday finishing videos for you guys and getting ready for UNT. But the update video that I uploaded earlier this week will tell you all of that, so I encourage you to check that out as well. I also encourage you to watch or check out my Twitter, because that is where you will get quick, fast updates on things and whatnot have you. But now that I'm done rambling and self-promoting, let's jump on in to the match itself against Hammer and his Dunsparce the Hague, I think. So, looking here at team preview, he bought his Hippowdon, he bought his Sylveon, Charizard X, Excadrill, Drapion, and Rotom Wash. Thinking about it, I would think this is a Smooth Rock Hippowdon to support the sand for a Life Orb Excadrill, potentially a defensive Excadrill as well. Defensive Sylveon, undoubtedly. Cleric Sylveon, potentially with leftovers. It could even be an offensive Cleric with choice specs, if it wanted to be. That's kind of what I was calculating for when I was building. Pivot Rotom Wash, probably leftovers on that. And then potentially a choice Scarf Drapion. On our side of the team, we have our Mega Pinsir in base form, Rocky Helmet, Vaporeon, Rocky Helmet, Donphan, Steelium Z Mew, no, Phytinium Z Mew, sorry. Phytinium Z Mew with Focus Blast into Excadrill, Crobat, Choice Banded Crobat, and then Life Orb Jolteon for pivoting. So thinking about lead matchup, I anticipated him to lead with either the Rotom Wash for pivot control, or the Hippowdon for sand. So I lead off with Donphan. I more so predicted the Donphan to lead off against Hippowdon so that we trade rocks. But he ultimately decides to lead with his Drapion as I lead off with my Donphan. So let's jump in. So I lead with my Donphan, he leads with his Hippowdon, or his Drapion, and I make an immediate switch out to Crobat. Okay, now, this immediate switch to Crobat, he questioned, oh god lord, I paused it, come on. Okay, so the immediate switch to Crobat, he he questioned because he's like, well, why did you switch? Honestly, I switched because I figured he's gonna Earthquake, so I don't want to catch an Earthquake where I don't have to. He pops a taunt, and I'm like, okay, cool, good to know. Which means that was his hazard stopping, because he has a Serena on his team, but he didn't bring it. Serena does get Rapid Spin, but he didn't feel the matchup, according to him, when I asked him after the battle. So, he didn't bring anything besides Taunt to stop hazards. My Crobat's able to catch the Taunt, switching out for Donphan. Donphan, I almost clicked Rocks there, but I figured let's not, because I know that Taunt is a thing on Drapion. So, I'm going to catch the Taunt, click U-turn, and Momentum myself out, controlling the Momentum into Vaporeon as I catch the knockoff, and it does a decent chunk of damage, which tells me he's not Choice Scarfed, he's not choiced in any fashion, but I am able to knock off the Rocky Helmet, do some chip damage to him, and immediately force him out into Rotom Wash to soak up the Scald. Scald does damage, gets the burn. Yay for the burn. I do about 25%, which tells me that that's probably defensive. I am able to snag the burn, which is nice. I get a crit, actually. That means that is definitely specially defensive. I get a crit, which is unfortunate. Sorry for the crit burn, obviously, but it is the game we play. So I predict the Electric type Volt Switch to gain momentum, and so I make the switch into Jolteon, as he does in fact Volt Switch, trying to control momentum on his side. So I kind of have him stuck here, and he decides to double out into Sylveon as I click Hidden Power Fighting, I anticipate, honestly, when this happened, I anticipated the Drapion to predict my Electric type move and switch in, so I clicked Hidden Power Fighting aggressively, kind of, sort of, but then I'm going to click Volt Switch here, thinking he's going to switch out, but he didn't. I just clicked Volt Switch, especially defensive, Sylveon, momentum into Donphan, because I'm realizing that he can't do much. He's going to be a Cleric Heal Baller. He's going to click Heal Bell here, and I'm able to switch in and get my Rocks up for free. There's the Heal Bell. The burn on Rotom is no longer existent, but I don't know how much that mattered. But I guess it mattered for longevity. So that's the thing. Leftovers for him. He doubles out into Hippowdon as I put my Rocks up. So now he's got the Sand up, and I'm able to click Earthquake. I'm faster than him because of the investment. He's able to put up Rocks. He's gonna make the double into Rotom, as I click Rapid Spin and I click Knockoff here to get rid of his Leftovers, because I figured let me get rid of the Smooth Rock immediately. So I went ahead and clicked Knockoff. The Rotom takes damage, and I knock off his Leftovers. So that's nice. Here I make a double, predicting the Water type move. Okay. So here I could have. Okay, so this was a 50-50 in the shot. I could have predicted the Water type move, or I could have predicted the Electric type move. Looking at it in hindsight, I should have predicted the Water type move, because why would you Volt Switch in front of a Donphan? Really? I'm stupid. All right. So I predicted the Electric type move for some reason. Here fires the Hydro Pump. I should have predicted the Water type move, but I didn't. So I'm able to live because of the HP investment. I take Sand, and then I Volt Switch and kill the Rotom. And I am able to live by 4. However, I realize at this point, if I want to keep Jolteon alive and switch it in again, I do need to kill those Rocks. So Donphan comes in, takes Rocks into Drapion. I'm pretty much free here. He clicks Knockoff, takes Rocky Helmet damage. I'm able to click Knockoff on him, knock off his Shuckle Berry, and then he's going to Pursuit Trap me, or attempt to Pursuit Trap me as I try to switch out, but I really didn't switch. I just click Rapid Spin here. Not quite able to pick him up. I'm able to get rid of Rocks, as the Sand is actually able to pick him up. So, nobody claims the kill on, Drapion, unfortunately, but I'm able to get rid of my Rocks, and now that he doesn't have a Rock Setter, because, well, he does have a Rock Setter, he does still have Hippowdon for Rocks if you wanted to put those up, so it's not quite that he can't put them up, but he's already in a position where he can't get rid of rocks on his side. So that's a fortunate thing for me. And I still have Donphan sitting around, so I can use that as a Rabbit Spinner later. He's going to switch into Drapion as, okay, so this turn is a salty turn for him, because I clicked knockoff. Okay, so here's what happened, right? So I clicked knockoff on Drapion, right? I clicked knockoff on Drapion, okay? Killed the Drapion to sand, and I clicked knockoff again, because he went into Sylveon. Here's my reasoning for that. I figured that thing was the Choice Specs variant, so I wanted to get Choice Specs off of him. I know he revealed leftovers, but up until the end of the game, at 3 in the morning, I thought he had Choice Specs, not leftovers. But even if he had leftovers, I still want to get rid of those leftovers. So regardless of what happens, knockoff is my play. According to Calcs, I would not have lived, but I did have 12 special defense. I pretty much would have lived. But at this point, Donphan was essentially useless because yes, he has access to rocks, but I kind of didn't need Donphan besides stealth rocks. And even if he did get rocks on his side, it doesn't ultimately end up mattering. I'd say it doesn't ultimately end up mattering, because whatever happens happens. Still, regardless of how it happens, I just come out with less HP overall, but I still end up doing what I need to do. So ultimately, Donphan, in my opinion at this time, was a sack, but I wanted to keep it around if I could. So that's the thought process there. But this knockoff right here ends up being entirely too important for this game. I'm able to knock off his Smooth Rock, which essentially negates his 8 turns of sand and makes them 5 turns minimum. So that decreases the overall turn count from 5 to 2 at this point. So I'm going to click knockoff here. He gets salty because he didn't anticipate that. He made the aggressive double, predicting my Earthquake. He made the aggressive double. I knocked off, got rid of the Smooth Rock, and the Sandstorm subsides as I click Earthquake now. As he clicks Earthquake as well. I'm still sitting around, make a double, predicting the Earthquake into Crobat. He slacks off. Right here, I think I should have just clicked Earthquake and killed him off. Ripperonis for me and for not doing it, but I'm able to U-turn. He's able to slack off as I retain momentum into Vaporeon. He slacks off again. I'm free to fire a Scald here, so he makes this play into Sylveon as I fire the Scald in its face, do damage. It's fine. Here comes his Hyper Voice. As I fire off Scald, I'm faster than Sylveon because of my investment. Here's his Hyper Voice. I live 1. Scald again as he takes Leftovers Recovery. Scald again. Chip him off and die to the Hyper Voice. I sacked off my because I didn't really have a switch to Hyper Voice. I didn't want to switch in Donphan. I switched in Mew here, click Flash Cannon, and kill off the Sylveon. He goes into Hippowdon here, and I just sit here and play Psychic for days. Because I don't really want to click... Okay, here's why. Because I don't want to use my Fightinium Z move until I end up against Excadrill. And if that ends up meaning that I don't use my Z Crystal, then I don't use my Z Crystal. But besides... Because here's the thing. With Fightinium Z, I don't even 2-hit KO Hippowdon because he does resist because of his ground typing. He does resist. I think it's either his ground or his rock. No, I think it's his rock typing. He resists fighting moves. So I can't even 2-hit KO him with Fightinium Z Focus Blast. So I don't want to use my Z Crystal until I know I can kill in one shot with it. So I'm just going to sit here and spam Psychic as he clicks Earthquake and is able to do about 38%. I predict the Earthquake and make the double into Crobat. He slacks off predicting that. So we're good. Sand damage. U-turn chip damage. Doubles into Mew again. As he clicks Rock Slide, catching me on the Crobat staying in. Sand damage. Psychic. Crit. Slack off. No big deal. Crit doesn't matter. Slacks off. Sand damage. And at this point, I click Psychic again. Do chip. And he clicks Slack off again. Recovers it off. Sandstorm is doing what it's doing. Sandstorm subsides. Psychic again. Slacks off again. Kind of just sitting here doing this war. Psychic. I didn't pay attention to my range. But he slacks off again. Psychic again. He wants to... Okay, so the reason why he keeps Psychicking is because he wants to get in a safe situation where... he's in a safe situation where he can deal with the rest of my team, but he realizes Psychic is doing considerably just about the same amount of damage, so he decides ultimately not to Psychic again, or not to slack off again, because it's not doing him any justice. All he's doing is stalling at this point. So the Psychic comes off, he clicks Earthquake, and he kills me off. I'm like, oh, I didn't realize it because I wasn't paying attention to my range, but at this point I'm like, okay, fine, we're good, right? We're fine. So I force him out into Excadrill, takes the rocks, I Mega Evolve, and I click Return, which does decent damage to him. And the reason why he made the switch is because he wanted to put the sand back up. So he's going to... I'm going to switch out, fearing the Rock Slide, into Donphan. Ready to sack it now. He goes into Excadrill, or sorry, he goes into the Sand Setter. He goes into his Hippowdon to put up the sand for the last time. He now has 5 turns of sand because I knocked off a Smooth Rock. He now has 5 turns of sand instead of 8, which means he's got 4 instead of 7. So that's one thing to keep in mind. And that's only because I made the aggressive knockoff on Sylveon where he switched in the Hippowdon, which ultimately ends up giving me the game. Spoilers, but I'll finish the game for you anyway. There's the Earthquake on him. Kills the Hippowdon. Because the minimum damage from Earthquake at that point, 28 attack, was I think 32 or 33. Something like that. So I'm able to pick him off. Into Excadrill. He's a Sand Rush Sweeper. I sack now because I didn't have a switch. Earthquake sack. Okay, so now I'm looking at my sand turns. He has 2 turns of sand. I have 3 mons left. I have Crobat, Jolteon, and Mega Pinsir. I can still win with Mega Pinsir because he has rocks on his side and he can't get rid of them. Return from my Pinsir does minimum 71% to a Megazard X, even a base Charizard. Earthquake does 78%, so I can still win with Mega Pinsir as long as I preserve it. So at this point I decide the sacks are Crobat and Jolteon, but the thing to keep in mind is if he had his 5 turns of sand that he would have had left over, if he had 5 turns of sand he would have won. Okay? If he had the Smooth Rock he would have won. So Jolteon first, rocks are gone so it's fine. Jolteon sacks to the Rock Slide, predicting the Crobat there, or the Mega Pinsir, either one. Crobat comes in, clicks, or lives, is able to chip off with Brave Bird, do a decent chunk of damage, where the sand actually picks up Crobat. Or no, the sand subsides here because of how I played it. If he had the Smooth Rock, I want you guys to know, if he had the Smooth Rock and I hadn't made the aggressive double, or rather the double knockoff where he made the aggressive double into Hippowdon, if he had the Smooth Rock he would have won, and he realizes that now, but he ultimately is going to lose this game. He's able to click Rock Slide again, and I am going to die as I click Brave Bird. I'm actually going to double down with him, so it's a +1 -1 for Strike Fire. Strike Fire ultimately neutralizes, dies to recoil, claiming the Excadrill, leaving solely the Charizard against the Mega Pinsir. And because he doesn't have rocks on his side, I am going to win. Even if I did have rocks on my side, I still would have won, because for those of you who don't know, I do outspeed Charizard by 5 points with my investment. So I'm going to just click Return here as he Mega Evolves. I click Return, and I'm able to kill from 50% evenly, and I'm able to pick up the game 1-0 against Hammer Timestone. The knockoff in 37 turns, I'm able to win the game 1-0. The knockoff was the play that gave me the game, okay? Crobat is 0-0, is fine. Pinsir claims a kill, does not die, and we ultimately win 1-0. That leaves our differential and standings at 1-2 -9. Not the best standing overall, but we will bounce back, I promise you. And this is our road to recovery right here. So yeah, GG's to Hammer, of course. I apologize that I played like ass according to him, because he was like, you made such bad plays, yada yada yada. My bad for making bad plays, but hell, it worked out for me, didn't it? So, I'm able to pick up the win 1-0. The rocks didn't necessarily help too much, but I will say they did help. The rocks did help, and that's why I made it an important notion that rocks were important. Yes, Donphan was ready to sack at that point, but I wanted to keep it around as long as I could, which is why I played it the way I played it. And yeah, so because of me knocking off the Smooth Rock from the Hippowdon early game, I was able to win 1-0. GG's to Hammer, of course. But yeah, that is our week 3 match against Hammer Timestone. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, be sure to leave a like, because I enjoyed recording it for you guys. Now, I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, leave a like, of course. And if you're interested to see the future of the content of this channel, then I encourage you to subscribe down below. But with all that being said, I'm going to go ahead and call this video. My name is Man, and I'm your coach for the Texan Clearbodies. Until the next video, I'm out of here, y'all. Bye.